ओके, सो हम लोग डिस्कस करने जा रहे हैं अपने न्यूज़ पॉइंट्स के बारे में। और सबसे पहले हम लोग देखेंगे, मम्मी दर बंद करे बंदा, गोल्ड हाउस एफएक्स स्ट्रीट। So gold holds above 1850 as US data highlights inflation fears. Gold fell below 1850 earlier in the day but reversed its direction in the American session, with the University of Michigan's survey of consumer highlighting the negative impact of inflation on consumer sentiment. So looking at the technical picture, gold this week confirmed a bullish breakout through 1834 to 32 supply zone and ascending trend channel resistance. This further adds credence to the near-term conservative outlook, though slightly overbought RSI on short-term trends kept a lid on the further gains. Bulls might also wait for a sustained move beyond 1865 region before placing fresh bets around gold. The commodity might then accelerate the momentum towards testing an intermediate hurdle near 1886 to 87 region and aim to reclaim the 1900 mark. On the flip side, the ascending channel resistance breakpoint coincides with 1834 to 32 supply zone, should now act as a strong base. On the flip side, the ascending channel resistance breakpoint coincides with the 1834 to 32 supply zone, should now act as a strong base for spot prices. Some follow through ceiling might trigger long unwinding trade and drag gold towards the next relevant support near the 1815 horizontal zone en route the 1800 mark. फंडामेंटल ओवरव्यूज की बात करते हैं. सो गोल्ड विटनेस सम सेलिंग ऑन फ्राइडे एंड फॉर नाउ seems to have snapped 6 consecutive days of winning streak. In the absence of fresh catalyst, bulls preferred to take some profits off the table following the recent strong run up to the highest level since June 14 and hawkish Fed expectations. This week's hotter than expected US CPI print fueled speculations that the Fed would be forced to adopt a more aggressive policy response to contain stubbornly high inflation. In fact, the Fed funds futures indicate that the first rate hike could come as strong as July 2022. The prospects for an early policy tightening by the Fed was reinforced by relevant US Treasury bond yields, which in turn drove fast flows away from the non-yielding yellow metal. This, along with the prevalent bullish sentiment surrounding the US dollar, acted as a headwind for dollar denominated commodities, including gold. Apart from this, stability in the financial market also did little to lend any support to the safe haven precious metal or stall the intraday decline to the 1845 region during the mid European session. That said, worries about a faster than expected rise in inflationary pressures helped limit the downside for XAU USD, which is proven long term hedge against rising prices. Hence, any subsequent pullback might continue to attract some dip buying near the 1834 to 32 strong horizontal resistance breakpoint. Nevertheless, gold remains on the track to post its biggest weekly gains in 6 months and seems poised to appreciate further. A sustained move beyond the 1865 region or multi-month tops touched on Wednesday will reform the bullish bias and set the stage for an extension of the upward trajectory. One weekly average forecasting देखें तो 1865 पे bias bullish. For 1 month it is 1866 and for 1 quarter it is 1867. MT4 टर्मिनल पे प्राइसेस 1861 62 के लेवल्स पे वापस से मूव करते हुए आ जाते हैं डिस्कशन पॉइंट पे. So XAU USD readies for a fresh upswing. Points to be discussed today: gold price consolidates and remained undertake. Gold price key levels to watch: gold price shot higher overnight. Gold is seen as an inflation hedge. Gold daily chart and XAU USD. Gold price shot higher overnight. Gold is seen as an inflation hedge. Gold daily chart and XUSD. Gold spot versus US dollar. Gold client positioning. Gold trade sentiment. So gold price consolidates and remains undeterred. So gold price consolidate the upside before the next pull higher. Gold remains undeterred by the global tightening calls after hot US inflation. Gold price turns bullish on falling bond yields, technical breakout. With hot US inflation, holiday themed market conditions are also boding well for bright metals as attention shifts towards Friday's US Michigan consumer sentiment data. In the meantime, expectation of global tightening will continue to influence gold prices. Gold price key levels to watch. So the confluence detector shows that gold price needs acceptance above the previous day's high of 1869 to extend the bullish momentum. Towards the daily R1 point at 1873, a firm break above the latter could will open door towards 1884, where the R3 monthly power point aligns. Alternatively, if sellers manage to find a strong foothold below the confluence of the Fibonacci 23.6%, the daily power point and weekly R2 point at 1859, the corrective pullback could gain traction. The next downside target is seen at the previous hourly low at 1855. The next downside target is seen at the previous hourly lows at 1855, below which fair support around 1850 will come into play. That area is the intersection of the R2 monthly point, the Fibonacci 38.2% level, and the 5 4 hour 54 hour 5 to 4 hour SMA. सो देख सकते हैं 1869 पे एक हडल है, एक हडल 1874 और एक हडल 1886। और सपोर्ट की बात करें तो 1855, 1857 और 1848 का लेवल। Gold price shot higher overnight. So gold prices shot higher overnight as traders digested a much hotter than expected inflation printout of the United States. The October Consumer Price Index revealed that the highest annual rate of inflation in over 20 years at 6.2% year on year. That was an 0.8% increase from last month's annual reading. Analysts expected a 5.8% figure. आ जाते हैं हम लोग अपने MT4 टर्मिनल पे एक बार। तो MT4 टर्मिनल पे गोल्ड के प्राइसेस वापस से 1859 के लेवल्स पे। वन डे कैंडल एक शॉर्ट रेड कैंडल बनती है। 15 मिनट कैंडल की बात करें तो लगातार दूसरी कैंडल डाउन। डिस्कस करेंगे बाकी की चीजें 2 मिनट के बाद। 2 मिनट हम लोग प्राइस का मूव देखेंगे। एटीन सिक्सटी के लेवल्स बनते हुए प्राइसेस पूरी स्टेबिलिटी के साथ 5960 के लेवल्स पे। So the US dollar and treasury yields, traders bought up gold despite a corresponding rise in the US dollar and treasury yields, which typically work against XEU prices. So trader bought up gold despite a corresponding rise in the US dollar and treasury yields, which typically work against XEU prices. The treasury route was hardly contained to the United States, which spillover effects can seen across the key government bond markets. The upward pressure on treasury yields is continue. The treasury route was hardly contained to the United States, with spillover effects can seen across the key government bond markets. The upward pressure on treasury yields is continuing through Thursday's Asia Pacific session, while gold prices level off. 10-year Treasury inflation protected, so real yields dropped, suggesting longer lasting inflation expectations may be master sizing across a wider segment of market participants. The rate on the 10-year Treasury inflation protected note hit a fresh post pandemic low following the CPI releases that widened the spread versus the nominal yield. A measure preferred to as a break-even rate the market expectations for inflation over the next 10 years. Gold is seen as an inflation hedge since gold is seen as an inflation hedge by a large segment of traders. That leaves the door open for a period of stagflation as policymakers would have to scramble to avoid runaway inflation and raise rates quickly, a tailwind for gold prices. This type of outlook plays out rather well for bullion. XAUSD broke above key resistance. So actually, USD break above key resistance overnight with prices moderating just above the 1840 handle through APAC early trading. A resumption higher will target the psychologically imposing 1900 level, which hasn't been traded as at since June. Former trendline support could expose resistance above. A pullback would have bulls looking to defend the recently breached resistance level near 1830, an area that acted as a resistance from July to September. आ जाते हैं अपने MT4 टर्मिनल पे। तो गोल्ड का प्राइस 1861.68। So gold trader sentiment, IG client sentiment, show trader are net long. Gold की ratio stands at positive 1.87, typically weak bearish trading. Long positions are 3.82% lower than yesterday and 21.50% lower from last week. Short positions are 11.85% lower than yesterday and 40.27% higher from last week. We typically take a contrarian view to crowd sentiment, and the fact traders are net long suggest gold prices may continue to fall. Traders are more net long than yesterday, but net less long from last week. The combination of current positioning and recent changes gives us a further mixed gold trading bias from a sentiment standpoint. आ जाते हैं गोल्ड न्यूज फ्यूचर्स पे। So precious gold set for the best week since May as inflation fears grow. So gold on track for second weekly gain. Bullion has gained as much as $110 since November 3. Token sees gold prices averaging 1950 OZ in first quarter 2022. Number 12, gold prices were on the track to post their best week in 6 months on Friday, with bullion's appeal as an inflation hedge burnished by a surge in US consumer prices. Spot gold was unchanged at $1862.09 per ounce by 10:33 a.m. ET. En route to a weekly gain of about 2.5%, US gold futures dipped 0.1% to $1862.20. Gold has gained as much as $110 since November 3, bolstered by deepening fears of inflation and reassurance from key central banks that interest rate would remain low for the time being. Price fell nearly 1% earlier in the session. It's a corrective day. Traders are taking profits after an incredible run. Logically, if you are not taking something off the table with the $100 rally, you would be kind of foolish, said Philip Stable, Chief Market Strategist at Blue Line Futures in Chicago. Bullion has also shrugged off a strength in dollar this week as data showing a big jump in US consumer prices in October took center stage. A stronger US currency typically dampened demand for bullion amongst buyers holding other currencies. Society General analysts forecast gold price to average $1950 an ounce in the first quarter of 2022. The renewed commitment from the Federal Reserve to support the economy while letting inflation printing higher. Reduced stimulus and interest rates hikes tend to push go of government bond yields and raise the opportunity cost of holding gold, which pays no interest. Helping gold pair initial losses, yields on the benchmark 10-year-old note dipped. Elsewhere, spot silver gained 0.3% at $25.30 per ounce, and palladium rose 0.7% to $2,072.67 per ounce. Platinum fell 0.9% to $1,075.62. आते वापस 74 टर्मिनल पे तो $1862 के लेवल्स पे प्राइसेस मूव करते हुए एटीन 62 के लेवल्स पे प्राइसेस मूव करते हुए एटीन 62.1009 के लेवल्स बनते हुए हम लोग आ जाते हैं वापस अपने डिस्कशन पॉइंट की ओर XUSD turns bullish on falling bond yields, technical breakout. So points to be discussed today: gold fluctuation, gold struggle to find direction, gold could lose interest, gold technical outlook, and gold sentimental pool. So gold fluctuation, gold has fluctuated in a wide range throughout the week. Falling US Treasury bond yields supported XUSD in face of broad USD strength. Investors will keep a close eye on yields amid a lack of high-tier data releases. So gold struggled to find direction. Gold struggled to find direction in the first half of the week, but came under strong bearish pressure late Wednesday with the initial market reaction to the US Federal Reserve's policy announcements. The sharp decline witnessed in the benchmark 10-year US Treasury bond yield, however, allowed XAUUSD to take a decisive rebound towards 1800 on Thursday. The sharp decline witnessed in the benchmark 10-year US Treasury bond yield, however, allotted XAUUSD to take a decisive rebound toward 1800 on Thursday. Although the dollar ended the week decisively higher against other major currencies, gold didn't have a difficult time clinging to its gains in the second half of the week. The price paid component of the ISM's survey jumped to 85.7 from 81.2, confirming that input price pressures remained elevated. Nonetheless, XAUUSD stayed in a consolidation phase with investors moving to the sidelines ahead of the Fed's policy decisions. Fed's policy decisions, so as expected, the Fed left its benchmark interest rate, the target range for federal funds, unchanged at 0 to 0.25%, and unveiled that it will start reducing asset purchases by $15 billion per month starting mid-November. Inflation. During the press conference, FOMC Chairman Jerome Powell reiterated that they will not automatically hike the policy rate once the quantitative easing program concludes. The chairman further emphasized that they see higher inflation persisting and said that they will be ready to address that risk. XAUSD turned south, so while responding to questions from the press, Powell explained that the lift-off test was clearly not met on the employment goal and noted that they want to see further improvement in the labor market before they consider a rate hike. Although the immediate market reaction caused the greenback to the worsen modestly against its major rivals, XAUUSD turns out with 10-year US Treasury bond yield shooting higher. The dollar market's valuation ended, so on Thursday the dollar regathered its strength and registered impressive gains against European currencies, but gold managed to gain traction amid falling treasury bond yields. As it currently stands, the positive correlation between the dollar's market valuation and yield seems to have weakened. More importantly, yields are having a more significant impact on XAU-USD than the dollar's relative performance against the other major currencies. The dollar preserved its bullish bias. So, meanwhile, the Bank of England's decision to leave its policy rate unchanged at 0.1% was another factor that weighed on global end on Thursday. On Friday, the US Bureau of Labor Statistics reported that non-farm payrolls rose by 5,31,000 in October, surpassing analyst estimate of 4,25,000. The dollar preserved its bullish bias after this data, but gold stayed resilient with the 10-year yields breaking below 1.5% on the day. Gold could lose interest, so there won't be any higher tier macroeconomic data releases at the start of the week, and investors will keep a close eye on US Treasury bond yields. Gold could lose interest, so there won't be any high tier macroeconomic data releases at the start of the week. And investors will keep a close eye on the US Treasury bond yields. Currently, the 10-year yield is below 1.5%, and unless it manages to rebound above that level, XAUUSD could continue to push higher. On the other hand, gold could lose interest in case the 10-year yield reclaims 1.6% and steadies above that level. The Personal Consumer Index, that is PCE, on Wednesday, the US Bureau of Labor Statistics will release the October Consumer Price Index data. The core CPI, which excludes volatile food and energy prices, is expected to remain unchanged at 4% on a yearly basis. Since the Fed uses the Personal Consumption Expenditure Price Index as its preferred gauge of inflation, the market reaction to the CPI data could remain limited. On Thursday, the UK's Office for National Statistics will publish the third quarter gross domestic product data. Following the BOE's latest policy decisions, the CME Group Boy Watch tool shows there is a 67.5% chance of a 15 basis point rate hike in December. In case the GDP report shows a significant slowdown in the UK's economic activity, the odds of a December hike could decline and weigh on the global yields. The University of Michigan's preliminary November Consumer Sentiment Index will be featured in the US Economic Ticket on Friday. Gold technical outlook. So gold closed above the 200 days and 100 days simple moving average for the second straight day on Friday. Additionally, the relative strength index indicator on the daily chart rose above 50, confirming the bullish shift in the near-term outlook. On the upside, XAU could target 1810 ahead of 1820. A daily close above letter could open the door for additional gains toward 1835. First support now lands at 1790 before 1785. आ जाते हैं MT4 टर्मिनल पे तो देख सकते हैं MT4 टर्मिनल पे गोल्ड वापस एक बार थोड़ा सा राइज करते हैं 1863 के लेवल्स पे. सो हमारी साइड से आज के लिए इतना ही. अगर आप लोग की साइड से कोई भी क्वेरी हो आप लोग कमेंट सेक्शन में मेंशन कर सकते हैं और एल्स टाइप 100 टू एंड मी दिस सेशन राइट हियर. ओके सो हम लोग आज का सेशन यहीं पे एंड कर रहे हैं और बाकी की चीज़ें कल के सेशन में डिस्कस करेंगे एक्चुअली संडे के सेशन में. सो तब तक के लिए थैंक यू सो मच एंड आई एम एंडिंग दिस सेशन राइट हियर राइट नाउ.